Damn. Tell me I lose this future here. Say something, let me hear you.
You hear me?
Go again. Sure. Say something, let me hear you. You hear me better, my lad? This me, EK. You could hear me good now? All right. And I could hear you. Okay, let me see if I could.
Biscuity dong. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
absolutely no idea why I was muted. So I have to do my whole intro over again. Selassie, I know. Let's try this again. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Selassie, I know. I muted everything so that we could check the stream with Mr. Kervin. Selassie. All right, so we good to go again, people. Yeah, all mics open. The thing is live. Like, you see, when you got so much things going on, when you're the producer, you're the editor, you're the host, you is everything. That is what happened when you're trying to do a million and one things at the same time. Don't try this at home, kids. All right, so we good to go now. I got tons of messages saying we can't hear. Well, look, we got fans. I love all you. All right. I love all you. So we good to go now. You guys can hear. Please do share the live, share the live, share the live. Yes, it's another edition of Let's Get Real. Once you refresh, you should be able to hear me. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. See, there we go. All right. So, like I said this morning, we are going to be talking about culture, entertainment, policy, and the orange economy. And our guest this morning is Mr. Kervin Infamous Benjamin from right here out of Sweet Sugar City, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He's a recording and performing artist, a good brother of mine. I was about to say friend, but then the word they wouldn't fall out. A brother. So me and Mr. Benjamin, we used to be in the church, you know. But now we're going back. But anyhow, that's a different story there. So we're gonna be looking at our industry, the entertainment industry, how the pandemic has affected us and how we could get back to the winning ways and further buttress up and make better our economy, the orange economy. For those of you who may not know what the orange economy is, let me just give you a quick definition. The orange economy, also known as the creative economy, is the bringing together of sectors of the economy whose main purpose is the production and reproduction, promotion, dissemination, and or the marketing of goods, services, and activities that have cultural, artistic, and patrimonial content. Those of you who know what patrimonial is, it has to do with your born in land, wherever you grow up, your ethnicity, the whole 9 yards. All right. So, in a nutshell, music, art, dance, services, you name it. And during the pandemic, we would have seen where some people didn't take this industry too serious. I don't know if it was for lack of knowledge or whatever, but they didn't take it serious because some people didn't understand and they didn't stop to understand because the pandemic was a time when fear dominated reasoning. And it was to the detriment of some of us, especially in the orange economy. The dancers, the photographers, the hairdressers, you name it. Each and every one of us, we were affected by this thing. And we're slowly coming out of that, but we can also see where other things are trying to rear their ugly head. The numbers look like they're going to be climbing. I don't know if that is by design, but nevertheless, we have to pay close attention to that. And we as entertainers, we as service providers, we're going to have to come together, so to speak, and to put our best foot forward in trying to reform our industry and trying to make it the best that it could be, and also to inform the wider community about the importance of our industry, the intricacies of our industry, how it actually works, the work that we put in, the process that we use to come up with the things that we come up with, to present it to them so that they can enjoy it, and to present it to the powers that be so that they fully understand. They know of it, but I don't think they understand. Because you see that they make use of it to promote their goods, promote their services, promote their interests, but they don't really and truly respect us. And that is clear to see. So this morning, we have with us as our special guest, as I said before, Mr. Kervin Infamous Benjamin. And the topic again this morning, culture, entertainment, policy, the orange economy. So I think without further ado, we can bring in Mr. Infamous and say good morning to him and get his insights into this conversation and see where we can go from there. So let's bring him up. Infamous.
Hey, good morning, Mr. EK.
Yay, we live. All right. Well, for those who may not know Infamous, and I think that's an understatement, that person either ain't born yet or they've been living under a stone. So could you just give us a brief insight as to, you know?
Well, I am Kervin. I'm Kervin Infamous Benjamin, hailing from the community of Keyon, you know, and but that's just about it, you know, EK. I mean, who ain't know me now ain't gonna know me
again. But you know, sometimes people know you, but they don't know your story. Because yesterday I got a little emotional, you know, talking about my story and my journey coming up in radio and entertainment. And, you know, a lot of people reach out to me and they said, wow, I had absolutely no idea. I saw you moving around, but I didn't know that's where you came from. I didn't know that's the process you had to go through in order to get to where you need to get to. So if you could just share just a little bit of that with us this morning, that would be greatly appreciated.
Well, to be very honest with you, right, my journey started a very long time ago, and I realized that you spoke about the church thing, and you know, we're going to talk about that today. Like most artists, singers, we started in the church, and well, years after, you know, after doing the football and the track and field, I decided that I made a decision that music was something that I would pursue. You know, because I could have been a football star, a track and field star, but I decided to go into entertainment. And you would be surprised because naturally I'm a very reserved person. And I decided to go into entertainment. At first, I was working with Shakal. You know, big up to Shakal. I don't leave out my people. Shakal was the one who really molded me and set me on my way. You know, he taught me how to master writing songs and all of that stuff. And I give thanks for that. And after that, I left for Texas. And this was in like 2007. And while I was there, I was doing track at the time. And while being there, I was a bit frustrated because I knew music was something that I really wanted to do. You know, and it wasn't, at the time in St. Kitts, it wasn't getting the push that I thought that it needed. You know what I mean? And you could attest to that, EK. Like, we were really trying.
Yeah, boy. It's been
a struggle. I left Texas in 2009 to come back to St. Kitts. And, well, really me and Zagadan. It was me and Zagadan. Big up Zagadan as well. He decided to stay and continue his track and field career, which I'm very proud of. And I decided to come home and see if I could push entertainment to a different level. And lo and behold, he was the one who produced 21 Gun Salute. That was my first breakout track. And imagine I was doing music before that, but nobody was listening to me. But I was very persistent. You know, I came home with a new style as well, you know, that tight pants thing like everybody.
Boy, you revolutionized that, you know.
But I get some stick for that as well. So, you know, I came home and I decided to go in full time into music. It was a decision that not everyone was very proud of. But you know me, I just decided I'm going to do it anyway. And after that, after 21 Gun Salute dropped and everybody realized how serious I was, then, you know, they took a liking to it because it was also a new sound. It wasn't the conventional reggae music type of vibe. You know, it was different. And from since 2009 up to now, everything is what it is, and I give thanks. I also want to thank the fans for sticking with us, not just me alone, but I realize that the entertainment has grown tremendously. So I want to thank the fans as well for honestly sticking with us through the ups and the downs and all of that. So and that's just that's my small musical career journey.
All right. So I hope that people grasp exactly what goes into building a career in entertainment. It's painstaking work. It's heartbreak, it's struggles, it's sleepless nights, is
Sleepless
wondering
nights for sure.
Rasta, wondering, where the next dollar gonna come from, where the next tune gonna come from, where the next gig gonna come from. You understand? And living in a small space like we do, St. Kitts and Nevis, of only 50,000 people, you understand that our market is very, very, very small.
Right, it's very
So
smart.
that's one of the major struggles that we face, because when we look at other jurisdictions with 1 million people, and you see just how successful they could be in terms of getting sponsorship, in terms of getting promotion, in terms of actually carrying up the value of their product when they do decide to sell it. Because here in this small space, you could hardly charge a good piece of sugar cake for your talent. And it's not, and sometimes I kind of understand it's not that people don't want to pay for it, but you have to take into to account the small space in which we live in. But
Most definitely.
let's go into the recently pandemic, the recently well, I don't think it's even concluded, it's still going on. The pandemic and how that
Right.
affected you as a performing artist, as a recording artist.
Well, to be very honest with you, right, I want to say that I was lucky enough to survive, well, kind of survive,
Hmm.
right? And that was solely based on the fact that I am an established entertainer,
Right.
right? But I could tell you this much. If I was feeling so much pain, I could only imagine what, the ones after me were feeling because, ain't everybody as established as everybody. So you could
Right.
only, and some of us do this thing for real. Like this is our day job.
Hmm.
So I was heavily affected. I don't want to go into numbers, but trust you me, I was balling out. I was balling out. I couldn't take it.
we, we all suffered, and some of us got hit harder than some, because, like you said, it's your day job, and there are some people in the community who feels as though that day job ain't worth nothing. That is just
Right.
a
And we
hobby.
have we have been dealing with that for years.
Hmm. Right. So, and they don't seem to understand that, hey, this is my job, just like a lawyer, just like a teacher, just like a policeman, just like a politician. This is my job. This is what I do. So they think that you should find something else to do to add on to what you do. What would you say to somebody with a mindset like that?
Personally, I think that it takes away from the fact that you are it honestly takes away from the fact that you are creative because if you have it's just like you're going to work all day and then having to go play football in the afternoon. I know that that is a hobby, but as creatives, right, we need that space and time to create,
Hmm.
you know? And I personally believe that if you enjoy what we do, then you would understand if someone needs that time to create this substance, create and have substance to what you like to hear. You know what I mean? So I think it should be respected a bit more, but unfortunately, where we live. I can't hear you, EK.
it takes time, and you have to be prepared mentally in order to produce what you produce. And having a day job, like let's say you go and go work water department. You with me, COVID?
I'm with you now, yeah.
Let's say you have a day job. You don't work all day, and everybody know that jobs could be um what you call it. Jobs can be very tedious. They take a lot of energy. They take a lot of time. They
Right.
they're hard. And so when you don't do that, to go home to try to create good music that people like is very painstaking.
It is, and you have a family as well. Like they don't factor in the family part. 'Cause some of us have
Right.
kids
Hmm.
and girlfriends and wives and them things there. So what I think that they just because they don't understand the mechanics of it.
Hmm.
I try to give them a break when they say nonsense.
Right. But you see, the nonsense in and of itself hurts our industry to a
It
certain point.
does.
And it hurts our industry on a policy level because if they don't understand because they're not a part of it, then ultimately the people who are supposed to be the ones in the vanguard crafting the policies to foster good economic growth in all sectors will not understand as well. And which
Right.
brings me now to where I really want us to zero in on the policy side of the orange economy and the people who are charged with making and formulating the policies. This is not just a
But
problem. Yes, go ahead.
what I do think about that as well, right, is that policymakers shouldn't have their ears on the ground. If you're there to make policies and not listen to what the civilians say, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
That's like you going into a shop, and because somebody doesn't agree with us being entertainers, and you are a policymaker, you are going to go back to the government and say, don't bother with them then.
Hmm.
Well, why bring a Ministry of Entertainment then?
That's a good point. That's a good question. And one would think that the best way to get something going is to get as much information as you possibly can about that thing.
But that should be your job as a policymaker.
Right. Touching base with the people, the movers and the shakers in that industry, so that you can get a
Right.
clear understanding of actually how it works, what goes into it. And then you, along with them in a partnership, could come up with policies that would help that industry to flourish. Because whether we want to admit it or not, entertainment, be it sports, be it culture, be it whatever, TV, radio, music, whatever it is, around the world, this industry is a multi-trillion-dollar economy. You go to the Super Bowl, you go to football that you're passionate about, the UEFA, all the cups. I don't know about football, so I don't just listen bowl sometimes go on and on about it.
You check, and you can also check their political campaign.
Check the political campaigns. They make use of entertainment in order to
Right.
capture the minds of people. So if you're going to use that and you understand the importance of that, you're supposed to be crafting policies that would help that side of the industry or the economy to grow. The amount of investments that you make into tourism, into manufacturing, into infrastructure, they're supposed to be equal policies geared towards making this orange economy as
Right.
flourishing as you possibly can. So
You get it. So
from your standpoint, we have a Ministry of Entertainment. It's fairly young, it's fairly new, and we have our reservations of about how they're going about actually trying to get it up
that's
and running. But what would be your best advice to this ministry, as young as it is?
well, in all honesty, I cannot I cannot be dishonest with myself. I think that they are now heading in the right direction. I just think that it is months too late
Mm-hmm.
because I saw some stuff that came out the other day about but I got invited as well, and I will not change my stance. I am just not going,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that they're now heading in the right direction, and I am a good friend of Ivan Berry, who is also coming to the seminar of whatever it is that they say they're having, and I think they're now going into the right direction. I just think that it is, I'm gonna be honest with you, it is only because of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't think that they cared before.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say one, I like to say two. I ain't gonna knock nobody all the way. They're going in the right direction now with trying to bring people who understands the industry and the ins and outs and all of that. So I think that they're going in the right direction. No.
I kind of agree with you, but I still don't agree with you.
Fully understand.
And I'll tell you why I don't agree with you. I think more could have been done. I think that yes, it's a fairly new part of the executive to hone in on entertainment. But the way in which they went about it, it made them lag just a little bit behind.
I think we're saying the same thing.
Right. And where they're going now, I still don't see that it's going as good as you think it may.
But
Because
I honestly, I do not know. I just going from what I saw on the post there. I have no
right.
information to work with, honestly.
And the poster says that you're going to have seminars about the music industry, um, creatives and the creative process, music laws, copyright laws, and all these things. All these things are important, yes. Right? People need to know these things, yes.
Right.
But you must be able to walk and chew gum. And I'll tell you why. Getting a bunch of entertainers in a room together to have a seminar, that's supposed to be ongoing. It's just like school, ongoing. But at some point in time, you have to introduce policies
Right.
coupled with that. Yes, you're teaching me all these new things. You're preparing me for all these things. But at the same time, the entertainment industry is fluid. It's still ongoing. It's just getting
Right.
back up and running. Now, over the period of time for 2 years that we have been down, a lot of things were realized. Number one, we need to formalize this industry. Don't bully people into it. Educate people into it. So it should have been an ongoing process.
Right.
Explain to people exactly what you were trying to do. Yes, there's assistance available, but you wasn't a part of the system. And so you can't really fix it.
But you realize I made a comment about that sometime this week.
Right. I saw the comment and I like the comment.
So they
And I
already
totally agree
knew.
with you.
They knew what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. So
They
I
didn't
don't,
want to assist. I
right.
don't care what they say.
They wanted to get everybody into the tax bracket and paying taxes and all that kind of thing. I totally understand that and I totally get that. I've been preaching that to my counterparts for the longest while.
Right.
Get
So I had no
yourself
problem with that.
formalized. I have no problem with that. But the timing and the way in which it was done, it was without empathy, it was without understanding. And
Yeah,
so
it made no sense.
And so what you did ultimately was to defeat the purpose of your drive. Because in a time of crisis, you can't operate without empathy. Otherwise, you're going to get resistance. And you
Right.
defeat yourself on arrival.
Well,
This is what I've been trying to say to them through this whole pandemic thing, Operate with a little bit of empathy and you'll get people to move. The bullying tactic is going to defeat what you're trying to do. And so now the seminars coming up. Who really gonna want to be associated with them? When I
that
was
is
at my
why
lowest.
I led with I am not going.
Right. When I was at my lowest, you had your foot in my neck and you know ease up. Right?
Yeah, so I
No.
don't leave them with the tick, yeah? They're gonna figure out their maths.
Right. But I would encourage anybody who wants to know about it to go. I wouldn't discourage anybody from going.
Right, I
I have
wouldn't
my own
discourage
personal
anybody. Yeah.
position, but if you want to go and partake, go right ahead. No problem. When you come down to the policy, the nitty-gritty of the policy, you're talking about concessions, grants, and investment. Right?
Right.
You can invest $200,000 in a building. That's infrastructure. Why can't you set up investments when, like, you have the CBI? There's a real estate option, there's an investment option that you can invest directly into a fund. We did one recently where we asked people to buy into our CBI in order to fix people's roofs.
Right.
I would want to see in the coming months that the Ministry of Entertainment make a pitch or pull together a program and say, well, look, we're going to have an entertainment investment fund. You buy into our CBI, and those funds for that particular period will be used to invest in entertainment. It could be dance, it could be film, it could be photography, it could be art in terms of visual arts, it could be recording, it could be live sound, it could be anything. The Macajumbies, all these people, so that they have access to finances in order to build and improve and expand their brand.
So can one also say that the Ministry of Culture has been dragging their foot for years as well?
But of course you can say that. Because when it comes down to grants and concessions, yes, it's there, yes, it's available, but who know about it?
That's a good question.
And the process whereby you go about getting it. I brought in a piece of equipment yeah, because equipment was rest down for 2 years.
Right.
And so when you take up these things now to go use them again, you understand that they're mechanical. They need servicing, they need upgrading, they need repairs. But you have to have finances available to repair. Now, if I had to choose between making sure my kids are all right and fixing a speaker, obviously you're going to take the money and make sure my kids are all right and left the speaker to your own devices.
And the speaker going to have to stay there.
But the speaker going to have to stay there. So now that we're up and running, we had an electrical problem. I burnt out a piece of equipment that costs $2,500. I had gigs coming up, so I had to replace it. A mixing console. You understand? I spent $13,000 to purchase that piece of equipment. When it got here to St. Kitts, customs wanted $4,000 to clear it. You hear? So may I use it yet? I don't spend 13. Customs want 4 something. So do the maths. That's $17,000 I don't spend when me nah. And I'll know me not use it yet. No. I tried to apply for duty free. Right? And going through that process was so much headache, I walk out by to hell with it. Me not bother want it. Let me just spend my money and get me work done. And so I had to bite the bullet.
But so this is once again where we say that the policy makers, they just don't care about entertainment.
There you go.
They really don't. And I did I did my own research on basically how much money I have spent over the last 12 years, right? Because I've been keeping a bit of check on it. I don't know how much songs I've done, and I have spent over $50,000, right, on production alone. Over $50,000 on production alone. We're talking about mixing, mastering, marketing, recording, everything you could think about EK. And that has nothing to do with wardrobe.
Boy.
Right? And when you say these things to people, right, they honestly do not understand how much you invest in yourself. And that is why we pressure these industries, like the entertainment industry, and the ministry as well to at least try to listen to us so you could grasp the fullness of what is happening. What I do know is that most of these people that get these portfolios, some of them never have been out in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Like they never used to go away. They never been involved in entertainment. So they really don't get it.
Wow.
And whoever they hire to advise them is always politically appointed.
Mm-hmm. And not looking out for the best interests of what they say they come to do. And they miss it by a mile. I mean, it's not.
I think they dropped the ball. I personally believe that they dropped the ball, and I just decided to stand back.
But the way how they go about it is not much encouragement to the younger generation coming up. And we, as entertainers, decided to put an organization together to lobby, because the government don't listen to one individual. They would prefer to listen to a group. And and
that would be PACE, right?
We form PACE.
Right.
And the way in which PACE was received, there was a lack of, in my humble opinion, a lack of respect. Because we have not gotten to that space where we respect organizations of the little man. The Chamber of Industry is respected, and that's because they have millions of dollars behind them.
Right.
You understand? The Evangelical Society, the Christian Council, the Bar Association, all these entities have big people and big money behind them.
Right.
And they lend support to the economy that is age old. Right? But nobody has ever formalized the orange economy. And it's a big piece of sugar cake. You as a leader, you as a policy maker should always be looking for more and innovative ways to make your economy more diverse and make your economy grow. So it would be in your best.
Let me introduce something to the conversation, right? So by any chance you think that we could take some of the blame as well as individuals, not entertainers?
Of course.
As individuals, because I find over the years that even when we try to do things collectively, there's always that one bad apple that just decide we're gonna spoil the whole thing. So we've always looked like that industry that nobody wants to work with, because it's so many different angles and opinions and all these type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I find, right, that as I say, when I say one, I always say two, eh? I find that as entertainers, and everybody would say the same thing, but just not do it. If we personally don't get at least 70% of us to come together and sit down and take it to them, I don't think that they're going to take us serious.
But you see, sometimes I don't want to absolve the policy makers of their role, because you see, we industry. You built your brand from the ground up. You had large investors.
I did that.
No, you had policy that was friendly to you. The studios that you recorded in, every studio owner bought his equipment, didn't receive any duty free. There was no policies in place for him to go and get his product in order to produce this thing. We had to spend we own money. So we did the work, because where I came from, I taught myself all these things you see me doing.
Right.
Nobody teach
me. But do you think that we need to unionize?
But we tried. PACE. And before PACE, he had other groups.
Oh, well, in all honesty, right, I never saw PACE as a union.
Well, it was an NGO that was geared towards dealing with the interests of the entertainers.
Oh, I fully understand.
The space in which in which you need to have in order for NGOs such as PACE to flourish was not there. I think if PACE had come about maybe not too close to the pandemic, I think PACE could have been way more effective. But the pandemic basically threw everything out of sync.
Yeah, every single thing.
Every single thing out of sync. So if PACE had time to gain some root, gain some traction.
So is it done?
I don't think so. It's still operational.
Okay.
But as I said before, you need to create that space. During the pandemic, who you think had meetings with the government in order to formulate policies going forward? They met with the chamber. The chamber looks out for the interests of the business community, don't they? And the government had meetings with them to discuss. When they had the meeting with entertainment over, I think it was the Marriott. Main thing you went?
No, I did not.
Well, the people who went, Hellfire went.
You know me as a rebel.
I know you're a rebel. Me too. Because I know me not going to none of the thing them. You understand? Because the disrespect that I got, that I felt coming from these people, me no want to be no photo up with them. But anyhow.
I don't want to be no photo up, man.
Right. The promoters and the entertainers who went to that meeting, when they came out of that meeting, they were fuming. Because when they got into the meeting wasn't a listening exercise to understand how the industry actually works and how it functions. It was a talk shop on their behalf, coming to tell us what them there do. Man, come to listen to me, come to hear what my concerns are, come to hear how you could formulate policies to help me. For instance, you give me a business license. I got to pay $200 to get my business license, right? My business license says sports, entertainment, and something else, promotion, right? So I have a business license to operate a business. I then now have to go to the police to get permission to operate said business. And if the police say no, I can't operate the business.
Right.
You understand? And something been talking to the police, something the police them don't even understand what the hell you are saying. You have to prove to them, satisfy them that you could operate your business, that you have certain things in place to operate your business. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with regulations and protocols, but formalize it. Give me a building code. Give me a fire code. They brought the fireman there to tell, okay, well, apply to the ministry, and the ministry can then farm it on to the police and then put it on to the fire department. So you add a new demographic too. We getting permission to operate. You're making it harder for us.
Right.
Where is the policy to ease the squeeze?
I honestly, right, there's so much that I want to say that.
Say it, my lord, we got time. That's what I've been here for.
I have been so confused during the pandemic. And since they brought this Ministry of Entertainment, right, that ain't funny. Because I had one thing in my mind, and then they came and just confused the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I've been back and forth with thoughts, and because I haven't been speaking to anybody in the Ministry of Entertainment, because all I see is footballers and netballers and them things there. So I just haven't been speaking to anyone. I don't know what they're doing.
But they need to tell us. They need to give us a policy statement. They
I
need to
can't tell you what
they're trying to accomplish over whatever said period. And this is why I was trying to have conversations with people in the ministry. And in trying to speak to the minister, I got the impression that the minister didn't want to have a sit down with me. They would have preferred to speak to somebody else.
Right.
Somebody else who is probably, more friendly to them. But Rasta, let me tell you how I operate. I prefer to sit in a room with people who disagree with me than people who agree with me.
Right, because you really want nobody tell you that you're right all the time.
No. You understand? And I could gain ideas from you. I never got the impression that the minister was serious about this entertainment thing and taking it forward. To me, it was just a damn show. Because
it was a ghost ministry, EK. I am telling you.
But that's the impression I got. And I really wanted to afford them the opportunity to prove me wrong. And to this day.
So for us to even sit and discuss what they should do, they don't even care.
Not even a little bit.
I could tell you about these people. They don't care.
Yep.
They are still going to do what they want.
But is we who have to agitate. I mean, I don't even think that they listen to me because, during the pandemic, I had rants upon rants upon rants upon rants as to how to go about getting this thing up and running, how to deal with us. And nobody was listening. Everybody was like, oh, to hell with all you. Safety first, safety come first. Lives and lives.
I was honestly,
Go ahead.
I was honestly leaving them alone, right? Because Akila can do for you. She'll do for me. She'll fight for love.
Where was the love? I didn't feel the love.
But
I did not feel the love.
After 2 years, right? There's no way that I could just sit back and watch entertainment. A ministry of entertainment take us down with it. I think that she has gotten enough time and she needs to be asked the hard questions.
Indeed.
And not from little people. Like the big boys need to come and talk to her.
But who you consider the big boys?
Well, the people that have been in entertainment for quite some time. And I talk about people who just come. We're gonna have them there for support, but we need to go to these people and let them know how serious we are.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I said earlier that we have to move as a collective body, right? And everybody need to put down all the emotions and all what they think about each other personally, because it is for the greater good of entertainment. Because for years I've been battling with that, like seeing people just taking personal things and then we ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So we could be here all day and talking about the ministry, but we have a lot of things as entertainers to fix as well.
In terms of what? Tell us. That we were talking entertainment, so let's talk it.
As I said before, I think that we have to come together as a collective body. Because remember, we are a small nation.
Mm-hmm.
And EKU1 can't do it.
No. Well, I've tried. I'm trying.
And we all have been trying, but collectively we need to go. So I personally am calling on everybody now. Maybe sometime during the year, because it's going to get out there, that all of us need to come and sit down at the table.
Indeed.
And it cannot be coming from the ministry itself. We have to get our own lawyers and all these things, and we're going to them. Because if we allow them to control entertainment as well, Ike, I believe that will be another downfall of ours. We cannot allow them to control entertainment solely. All we need them to do is make the policies to assist us, and that's just about it. I do not want you in my business.
When you say you don't want them in your business, what do you mean specifically?
When I say I don't necessarily want them to know every single thing. Who wants everybody to know every single thing, Ige?
True that.
But because I still think that entertainment should be an independent body.
I kind of have a hard time understanding what you mean when you say you don't want them in your business, but you just want them to make the policy. How does those two things work exactly?
Well, you make the policies to assist us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to leave it at that. But you cannot know everything that I am doing. Ike, some things are just off the books, whether you like it or not. I never wanted to say it, but some things are off the books.
Well, it's an open conversation, and I think in order for them to understand. Yeah, go ahead.
You're going to get what is yours, and I'm going to take what is mine.
Okay. And I'm guessing you're speaking in terms of tax revenue.
Right.
Okay. So they can come up with a tax revenue vibe, like you pay for your business license. Well, for me, I pay my business license, just the piece of paper to say I have business.
Right.
And then quarterly, based on my earnings, I pay a certain percentage. If my earnings is over a certain amount, this is what I pay. If
Right.
it's below a certain amount, that is what I pay. And I've been
Don't
trying
come
to,
looking for nothing else.
right. And I've been trying to pay that. And so from that standpoint, I fully well understand, because you got to pay your taxes.
Right, of course.
And
We
in
ain't
paying your
trying to
taxes,
evade taxes.
right. And in paying taxes, I think what should happen across the board, because we pay a lot of taxes in this country, you know.
Many
We
a
country
tax.
in books, you know. I don't hear people talk about we country in books.
Buy a
For
plane
instance,
ticket and you're going to see.
okay, good. You buy this pen, it come in, tax on it. You understand?
Right.
Everything that you make use of, tax on it. You bring it in yourself, you got to pay tax. Whether you think that you don't want to pay tax, or you fall off the grid, if you buy a sardine, tax
You're
on
paying
that,
tax.
you're paying tax. So you're paying all these taxes, and where is your tax return? They tell you, oh, we fixed the road, and the road got him a lot of pothole, my lad.
So have they done anything in the House, Cabinet, Parliament, anything? Have they said anything?
No, this is the problem.
I haven't heard anything. That's why I tell you, I don't even have enough information to work with because I haven't heard anything. All I know is that they invite you to sit down for a photo op, and that's just about it.
That nothing serious.
So I just don't know what else to say, honestly.
I
Because
don't think I could call the Ministry of Entertainment right now and ask them what policy you have in place for sounds,
you will
live
not get an
sound,
answer.
to access grants, concessions, or investment. Can I register with the Ministry of Entertainment, get a card, and once I have that card or once I have that identification, will you put it
You
into
take
the
it to the
system so that when I go to the airport or go to the seaport to collect a piece of equipment, no duties are charged on that?
right.
Or
I
I get
haven't
a
heard
certain
anything.
percentage, I get a certain percentage of VAT on that because I pay my taxes.
So all of this, we're here today because we want to know all this information. That's all we want to know. Now, why are we coming to this seminar again? Is it going to be like the first one, where people left dumbfounded? They don't know what is happening.
You see, somebody asked a question, Marlene Phillips, why don't musicians form an association?
Well, that's the same thing I was asking you, Ike. We need to unionize and form associations and all of this.
Associations are there, they have tried. But sometimes the problem is, like for instance, when the Chamber of Industry and Commerce have a meeting with the government and they put forward their issues, you hear a news bulletin on it, you hear the minister speak on it, and then when you look, you see some sort of movement to appease the Chamber of Industry and Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
The first thing our prime minister did when he came to power was announce what it was, $100 million in concessions.
I cannot recall.
Okay.
That was 2015?
Yes.
Can't recall.
Millions of dollars in concessions for the business community. You as a businessman, you ever access any of their concession there?
None whatsoever.
Okay. And that is what I got up in the meeting that we had, that Pace came out of. Amali came to a meeting and says, look, we have to formalize a letter, a bunch of requests in order to send to the Ministry of Entertainment so that they can formalize a framework as to how to move forward based on the information that we would have given them.
Right.
And I went around the room and said, well, who this letter coming from? They said, we. I said, but who is we? They say we, the entertainers, say, but okay, are you a body that can lobby the government, make it official? Are you an NGO? Are you an association?
Right.
And out of that questioning came PACE. So PACE came about.
And not even PACE could challenge the government?
Right. So they had meetings with the ministry. Me personally can't see what the meeting was about. Ain't no movements about it. Me no see no serious push to deal with entertainers. I'll let me tell you, come and register. Come and
And
register.
that's it.
Come and
What
register.
register him
Come and
for?
register. Where the ass I register for?
That's what I was saying. Like, but I can't take it out, Rasta.
What is your policy? You're the one who started the ministry of entertainment, you know. So you're supposed to got some kind of idea as to what you intend to do for the entertainers, for the creators.
They should have had that. They should have had that done before they even thought about bringing that ministry about.
Right. So to me, it was just to get us all excited.
And that's just about it.
And nothing else.
So that's why I say I do not have much information to work with, because I know for sure it's just a ghost ministry and they don't intend to do anything, honestly. So that's just the country's money again running through a ministry that doesn't exist. So until they could bring something of substance to me, then I do not know what to say. Because it's like them fishing for information so that they could start something.
Something. And this is my parliament I got with these politicians of late. You put up yourself and say, you want to come forward to help me, to do the most for me. And you're going to turn on and ask me what is that, man?
And so turn on and ask you how you should go about doing it.
How like, you should go about doing it? So when you ask you get paid for?
But then you are not going to get paid to be an advisor, eh?
You understand me? I'm going to sugar cake with that.
Okay, but they want all the information from you. That is why I said, I am not going to any. I don't want to talk to nobody, Rasta, because you're going to come, you're going to get all my knowledge, you're going to start this thing and you ain't going to even look back to say, bye, thank you. So we could be here all day, right? And they're going to take all the information that they received today, right? Dissect it, go back around the round table, and then start to move. And then me and EK left in the wilderness again.
Well, being in the wilderness, you know, to be honest with you, my lad, I try to diversify myself as an entertainer and to make myself viable so that.
And that is why you see I even branch out into marketing as well, like marketing and small promotions. I branch out into that as well because I'm like, well, it look like we can continue to take some licks as entertainers. So you just got to find something else to do. You know, there was one time when I heard a conversation and one of your shows them when the lady said that we need to go find something else to do when we realize people need to save money.
Yeah, Sylvie Henry. She says you're an economist. And then the whole
economy.
But it still shows you the disrespect that they have for us.
But the funny thing is, they use all our material. They use us and they use our material when they have anything going on. But they don't want to listen to us. Now tell me one entertainer you know up in the Ministry of Entertainment, because I do not know.
I don't know either.
I don't think they call any musician to the table. I don't know. I can't recall seeing any musician there.
I can't recall. I mean, I get invited to the things them all the time, but
no, I'm not talking about that, and I'm talking about in the ministry itself.
No, nothing in there.
So how you have a Ministry of Entertainment and you don't have anybody in there with no entertainment experience?
Well, they say they got somebody in there who don't go party.
And then you want to put that said individual to direct me. Like EK, I tell you, right, if I talk about this thing, I don't get heated because this is all I've been doing my whole life, right? and the amount of knowledge we have, I just don't want them to get it for free. I rather tell the artists them and the entertainers them what I have to say and how they could go about doing things, but I will not be giving any information to them. Because it is all about politics for them when we're talking about policies.
Right.
Me and you, I tell you, as I said before, we could sit down here and dissect how we think that they should go about things, and they're going to take it, and next week you're going to hear something pop up. So I would much rather talk to my people and let my people know how to go about doing things, because they don't care.
And I share your sentiments as well. I don't think that they truly and genuinely want to see us flourish, want to see us move. I mean,
you remember what I said? You remember what I said this week, right? They knew 95% of us were not registered in Inland Revenue, and we didn't have any self-employed thing down. Social Security, most of us, right? So instead of them trying to help the situation and still create and have the database, right? It should have been separated. Not tell me that in order to get assistance, you have to be registered. Separate the two, because registering is a tedious business.
Right.
It is not like today for today. And the pandemic come in unannounced to everybody. And with all these different programs that they have running, with all these different things, right? Why wasn't entertainment looked at? That is what I want to know. They pay everybody. Sometimes they pay people to do nothing. Why wasn't entertainment looked at? And if I can recall properly, right, the last election, they had the most entertainers on the stage.
Every last one of them.
So why wasn't entertainment looked at? Like, but we're going to ease our pressure. You know why they just don't care? We're going to ease our pressure. We don't really like how you know, but we're going to ease our pressure.
But that's why I said to the entertainers, when these political parties come to you, charge 5 times your normal price.
Yes.
Every one of your prices for every year that they're going to be in office, which is 5. Which taught me that? A group came here during Labour time, a British group. I think they used to run elections. They were campaign managers or whatever. And the lady asked me, what is your price to do such and such? And I gave him a price. She said, no, times it by 5, please. You hear?
Right.
One price for every year that the said government or the said party is in power for. 5 years times 5. Because you don't know within that 5 years if their policies will be geared towards you.
Right.
Elevating, growing, and expanding. So to look past all of that, just to give them the little ting, you charge it 5 times. And unless they're willing to pay, they leave you alone. Do not go on the stage to promote their product and to promote their interests. Because this is what happens in politics, you know. Campaign finances, let me tell you where campaign finances come from. They don't come from rich people. It don't come from businesses. A business might get $1 million. A business might give $50,000 to a candidate. He used that money to run a campaign. When he gets into office, whoever gave him his campaign money got a free ticket and a free access to him for him to go India and reciprocate. Send back some of the money, sir, or to put policies in place so that business, that individual can grow or get back their money.
Right.
So we don't have the money to give. What we have is our product, our talent, our platform, our network.
And we should charge for it.
So we should charge for that. And here is why we need to educate our counterparts as to their worth. You have been from us. It took you how much years to build your brand, your name, and your product, and how much money you invested. My name EK. You know what that comes with? I tell people when you're going to hear me, and they say, well, you're only coming for 2 hours. I say, sweetheart, You know who Ike be?
Okay.
You know when me come with? You know when Ike say go, so what happened? Everybody
That
go,
is
so.
where, that
So
is
you
where
got to
you have
prefer
to
it.
understand your value.
Understanding your value. And that is what I try to teach the members in the entertainment. Just like how they could value their money, your worth is valued in your networking, your platform, and your brand.
Well,
Sometimes you
that's what
buy
I'm saying, because
a brand called Gillette.
you are now an influencer.
Ah, there you go. And that has a cost attached to it. If they
Right.
can't pay it, let them leave you alone. For a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl is millions of dollars for that 30-second ad, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the Super Bowl built its brand, you got a vast network and a viewership. And if you want to come in here to advertise your product, that is what you have to pay. So
But
we
you
have
see,
to adapt that mentality.
I think, right, that these people are so good at exploiting that they really think that we don't know what is going on, and they're going to continue to do that. They're very good at it. They're just very good at it. I ain't gonna tell no lie. These political parties and their people, they're very good at it. And you see people like me and you who are open to certain things, they just don't like working with us.
I know they ain't gonna want us at all. No, we're close setting.
Yeah, they don't like working with us, they don't like working for us. And don't care how right me and you be EK. Nobody gonna study how we.
True that. True that. Because I said to somebody in a conversation, I don't understand why the Minister of Entertainment wouldn't want to have a sit down with somebody like me who has been in the ins and outs and who's also willing.
Well, EK,
Because this would be a big boost for the minister. Because you
well,
will get
I
a
could
clear
go as
picture of
far.
what.
I could go as far as saying, I am a family friend.
And you still can't get a blind, my lad?
I am a family friend, but
And you
what?
still can't get a blind?
You know, they say I'm a loose cannon.
Oh, Lord. But loose cannons are who you need. These are the movers and shit. Watch. Every revolution that we've ever had, all the amenities that we enjoy today, all the civil rights that we have had today, they came about because of loose cannon. Somebody taking a stand and say, hey, no, this might be the convention, but we're gonna break up the convention. Yeah, something new got to come into play and move with the times. You would think that they would want people like us to be a part of whatever they're doing.
No, sir.
But they don't want that.
And you know,
it's to their detriment.
I am very much content these days. Like once ago, right, Ike, I would have been the first to say, but let me just do this because, you know, a little change will come. But I have lived to see so many things, obviously, right? That I am of the opinion now that I could stand on my own 2 feet and I really don't need to go down that road, right? Because, you know, when you're coming up and you're just starting out and what's that, a politician boy come to you, show you like a $5,000-$10,000. You feel like that is money. And then you start having bills to pay and children to feed and these type of stuff, and you realize, oh, well, that ain't money, boy.
No, that ain't no money.
As soon as you wink, it done. You know, so you start to realize the value. And you know, reach to the point where you have so much knowledge. And you start to see through the smoke and mirrors because they use that to blind you, eh? You start to see through it and you start to wake up, and that is when you and them ain't good enough.
Definitely. All right. So,
I personally believe that with all that we said just now, because it was an open conversation, with all that we said just now, I believe that we as entertainers, all entertainers should come together and outside of the ministry and take it to them.
I hear you, brother. I definitely hear you. I think we could do a lot more to formalize our own industry instead of waiting on them. So I have been on this tier recently trying to get my brothers to get together.
I personally think that I have not been doing a good job. when it comes to that, because there's a lot of things that I could have been a part of, and I decided not to. But after this conversation, I am very much open to talking to groups that are not within the ministry to see how best I could be a part of whatever movement it is, so that we could at least get some justification as to why we've been treated this way.
All right. So, folks, on your screen, you can see I'm flashing you to join the conversation here. The number is on your screen, so who may want to be a part of the conversation, you can call me now and do so. We already have a call. Caller, you're on. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
I was just listening to your conversation concerning the entertainment industry in St. Kitts, and I love the discussion that you're having. I did post something on the site asking about a music association. I'm kind of curious why artists here in St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm going to say musicians in particular, musicians, singers that are in the music industry have not formed an association. Because an association is something that would represent you. If you all, you have strength in numbers. You have strength in numbers. So if you come together collectively and you form a music association and you list all of the challenges that you have and that you want addressed, then you can take that information, like you said, to whatever entity to agitate them for what you want. But what I've observed is that the artists do not want to come together. Everybody wants to do their own thing in pockets. And I'm a strong believer that in numbers you have power. St. Kitts Department of Culture, for example, behind the scenes that people don't know yet is we're having conversations with Ministry of Trade and Customs, and we have one planned with finance and all the stakeholders, because behind the scenes we're trying to agitate for some help in terms of duty-free for the artists. We have a registry, and we recognize that if we have a list of artists, a list of people who Department of Culture can verify are artists, then we can take this list and say, well, this is the list that we're backing, and that when these artists come to Customs, you can check the system, check our database to see that they are bona fide artists who are practicing their trade, and you afford them duty-free. It's not to negate the C-101 form that you have to fill out, right. But we are entering into discussions with them to see how they can recognize our creative people in the industry. And there is a challenge because the way that business is run, you must have a business license. And you understand within the creative sector, a lot of people that practice their creative trade, they have not registered their business. And I think that became apparent during COVID when monies were being offered to registered businesses. And a lot of people in the industry, the creative industry, had not registered their business. So it was difficult. You didn't have a social security number or a registered business, so you couldn't claim certain money. But what we're trying to do with this list is say, okay, we know there's a lot of people in the sector who are not registered. We, meaning Department of Culture, which is an institution that has credibility, is saying that we recognize and we endorse these artists. We know that they're practicing their trade. So that should mean something, right? And I think there are lots of, well, from our point of view, we want to discuss things like, okay, why is it that raw materials for the creative people in the creative industry are not duty free? We're trying to make it easier for people at Customs to recognize who the creative people are and the types of raw materials they need to bring in. If you're a videographer, there's video equipment. You're a musician, there's musical instruments you have to bring in. There's sound engineer. There's certain mixing boards, etc. For an artist, there's all different components that deal with the performance sector. For stage managers, for people that do decor, etc. And they're having the same challenges. But I know you're focusing particularly on the music industry of musicians. Why is it that our singers, musicians, people that play in the band, which is to me is the most popular thing that's going on in St. Kitts, come together and have a stronger voice together. People can't be, but you've got to be bothered. If it's bothering, you've got to get involved. You guys are the ones that can do it. And if you don't have the skill to manage, you need administration, an administrative person that's going to be taking minutes of the meeting, typing up all the things you guys are talking about that you want implemented, and making sure that professional side of it's done so that letters can be written to who they need to be written to. If you don't have those skills, you've got to employ someone to do that, even if it's on a part-time basis when you start this association or this NGO. But I really believe that there's so many artists here in St. Kitts. You've got to come together and form this association, and then that becomes your strength and power to agitate for the change that you want.
All right. Well, I appreciate your telephone call and appreciate the information that you've just given us. I had a couple of insights into it, but I had no idea it was this vast. But you're saying that you're speaking with other agencies of the government to get certain things implemented, like the concessions. But doesn't that have to come from a policy level? Because when you go to customs have a list there that they know what to charge on electronics, they know what to charge on this, they know what to charge on that, and that is guided by what? Isn't it policy, law? What it is?
Well, I can't.
Say again?
I can't answer that question. I don't work in customs. I don't know where that originates from, but this is why, on behalf of the artists, the Department of Culture is trying to ask these questions to understand better how is it formulated, and also to make them understand the needs of people, the challenges within the creative sector, because it's not like a regular business that you would have. It's a creative business that you apply business principles to. There's a misunderstanding. They don't understand how creatives operate in the industry, and they don't understand that in order to make money, we need to bring things in at a reasonable price so that we can offer our services at a reasonable price and make money to take care of our families, etc. So we're having these conversations to understand, and also, for example, when you register your business in the creative sector, from my experience, the Ministry of Finance has a very limited scope of what field you could be represented in. I know an example of a young lady years ago who had a dance teacher, opened up her own company and wanted to register her business, and she was given an entertainment license. That does not make sense. She's opening up a school. Training dance people, young children to dance. Right. So that category is wrong, and so we're entering into conversations with them to say that, look, there's about 30 different categories that our creative people function in. Some are artists, some are service providers, and this is the list that we have. We have not an exhaustive list, but we at Culture have a definition of who works in the performing arts, visual arts, literary arts, culinary arts, and provide professional services. We want to share that with them and discuss it with them, and then see how we can go about changing, the fees that you charge for people in the sector, because it's more than just entertainment, a blanket entertainment permit for everybody. So, these are some of the things we're trying to do. I don't have the answers, and we want this list to be a list that Customs uses to say, okay, once you're in our database, they should say, okay, EK is registered with the Department of Culture. Okay, check the database. This is what he does. He's a DJ or entertainer, sound system, and they should have you in their database and know, okay, his form has been presented, everything checks off, and he gets duty free. On the level of how much the taxes are alleviated, this is the hard conversation we have to have with them to see how we can change that.
Well,
I don't have the answer, but we want to have the conversation with them. And I just want to add that we're currently trying to finalize the national cultural policy. So this is the opportunity to put things in the policy that will resonate and affect the arena that you work within.
Can I add something here? Because I've been having these conversations for a very long time, and I think you know me and I know you, and I respect you to the fullest. I respect your passion. I love your passion for culture and performing arts and the visual arts, and I have great respect for the work that you have done over the years. If I've never said that to you before, I'm saying to you now. But
Bless.
in conversations with people who work at Inland Revenue and also at Customs, because I have them on my radio program on Freedom from time to time, and I've always put to them, why doesn't this happen? Why doesn't that happen? And you know the answer that I get back? Because it is not in the law. The law is what guides what Customs and Inland Revenue do and how they go about it. So, who makes those laws? Where do those laws come from? What informs those laws? And it has to do with policies. And who are in charge of the policy making? It's the politicians. So if the politicians
and the lawmakers,
information from you, the technocrat, at the ministry, they are the ones who should go into cabinet, come up with a policy paper, and then go into the House of Parliament and make the necessary changes and amendments in the laws that will govern the work that Customs and Inland Revenue do. So you are doing your part. We are doing our part. But the people who are not doing their part is the politicians. And it's because they do not want to do it. We have seen amendments to other laws like the financial laws from time to time. We just recently had FATCA. We have seen amendment to traffic laws. We have seen amendments to all the kind of laws. What is stopping the politicians from changing the wording in the law that governs materials that comes into this country?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Have the creative people in the music industry sat down and looked at or reviewed the Copyright Act? For example, what do you want changed in it, right? You've got to sit down as a collective group of people who it affects and see what you want changed in it. That's why I mentioned that we're trying to finalize the national cultural policy right now, as we speak, right now, over the next 2 to 3 months, so that the process will be, it's presented to the Minister of Culture, and we want the Minister of Culture to present it at the cabinet level, for that whole process to become policy. That's the process. We can't avoid the process. However, we can put the information in the policies that they need to hear. We can't make them pass it. But that's what the association is. That's what the people do, is to agitate for the change that you need, and you have power in numbers, right? So we need to, it's a grassroots approach, but first you've got to identify what you want. What is it that you want changed? Be very clear about it. List it. Let's get it into the policy. I know we have to go through the process. I know there's red tape. I know there's always someone that could, table it, not look at it. But if you don't have something in there, you don't even have a chance. We got to try something. And I think right now there's so many people in the industry that have great experience, such as yourself and Infamous. So listen to the conversation, and as entertainers and people that support the industry and promote it, firsthand what needs changing, right? So even if it doesn't happen through government or through the Department of Culture or through the new ministry that's come about, amongst yourself, you've got to organize yourselves and then come knock on Department of Culture's door, for example, and bring the list of 100 things you want changed. And all we can do is see where it goes from there, because within all ministries and all departments, you do have one or two people that really are trying to make a change and make a difference in an effort. So you have to be optimistic, and it's one of those things that changing laws and making policy and legislation, it's something that you just can't give up. Like look at people like Rosa Parks and people like that said, no, I'm not going to get off the bus. I'm sitting here. Don't discriminate against me. It's years that they agitate. This gets set up one day. They take a position, and we are reaping the benefits of their challenge, their success. Somebody's got to change it. So we can't wait for other people to do it. We, the artists, the practitioners, you've got to get together. But I don't know, because artists are so creative and all over the place, how do you get them all in one room to have the conversation? I know that there's been a few association attempts happen, here in St. Kitts. I don't know if they're still around. I don't know why they're working or why they're not working. But I expected some of them to come to the Department of Culture and say, these are our demands. Our group has spoken. This is what we want. I'm still waiting. I'm not going to call any names because I know people who started things, but where is it? I thank you for respecting what I do. I'm only one person. I can't speak for anybody else. I can try and do what I can do in my capacity. That's what I stand by. But I can't speak for people. I want to know, and that's why I called in. It was a colleague of mine that told me this program was on, and I thought, okay, let me hear what are the burning issues. So I'm glad to know what you're all talking about. But I know there's more than that, so bring it. You're on the radio, Infamous, you're in the field. I'm in the office. There's others out there like us. Let's try and make a change. I'm telling you that we have a registry. Join it. There's power, there's strength in numbers. I'm telling you that we're drafting a policy.
I personally want to thank you for calling.
Right? So it's just an opportunity. It's not. I'm frustrated as well. Some of the things I try to do don't get done, but the little bit I can do, I'm going to do. So I just, don't want you guys to get, be fed up and say, Infamous, I ain't talking to nobody. Talk to your colleagues in the industry, and you guys come up with this list, and let's try and, you've got the platform, EK. Continue the excellent work you're doing, shedding light, talking about it, bringing one-to-one to this forum. I think you have the power to organize it and table these issues that need addressing and bring a copy to culture.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling us and continue to do the work that you're doing, and you'll definitely look into getting those demands to you.
Yeah, I am 100% on board.
But you see, I understand the caller, and I totally agree with the caller as to the things that we need to do as entertainers. But these are things that we have been screaming from the top of our lungs since forever.
Right.
And in for lack of trying. Because you see, nobody in St. Kitts and Nevis formed an association to ask the government to go into the House of Parliament and reform a piece of traffic law to charge us $3,000 if we tint 10 inches below the windscreen.
Right.
No association was formed for that. I don't know if it's the police asked for that. Maybe it's the police asked for it, I don't know. But me not think no big public outcry happen in order for them to go in the house and amend that.
Right.
We as entertainers have been screaming at the top of our lungs. We hear the complaints every single day. How to access grants. Sometimes people know about grants that troops could access, that dancers could access. And the information don't go out there on a blanketed platform to say, well, this is here, run, come. Sometimes some people know, and they themselves go right in the ministry. We see these things for years.
Yeah.
So if you as the Minister of Culture, mind you, we have had ministers of culture since time immemorial. If you as the Minister of Culture can go in cabinet and say, hey, the people, all right, we're getting a call. Let me hold that thought there. Hello, good morning.
Yo, my lad.
Hey, what's up, my lad?
Back now.
Hey, say Baggy. Good to hear your voice, my lad.
Bless him. I just listened to the lady who just called here, Marlene, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I was one who was able to benefit off of some of the stuff that Marlene spoke about.
Right.
I think it was way back in 2014 or 2015 when I wanted to get my studio stuff. It was hell than devil. I was like, I'm trying to pull teeth. And then somebody put me on to her.
Right.
And then she went and she pulled all the strings and told me about the same and signing up for the culture thing, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember how the whole thing go.
Mm-hmm.
But, she's one who has been working for us, and she's a small lady. She's just a small lady. Saying nobody, she's not appointed trainer, get trainer, that she's a small lady. I don't know what her political background is, but it has been fight for her. Because I have one she have dealt with, and I was able to get my studio stuff even to listen to nothing. So I attest to some of the things that she's talking about. And I also agree with you guys in terms of, we need to put this thing together and come together as a team. But I want to talk about Pace, right? Me personally feel that Pace was created, it was a personal game for some of the people who brought it to us. And that's what I feel, when I'm not really want to go into names, but I'm not really listening. I'm not really along with others. I feel like those people who came to us over the marriage and you ask the question, who is us, who is we? When you ask, who is us? Nobody could answer you. I was there. So I feel like these guys brought that thing to us as a personal game for them to get a position or a job. Some did, some did not. So that's why I feel like Pace didn't work, because after you guys put the team together, when it's happened to Pace, it's not happened to Pace after that. Pace just was just on vacation. I don't want anything happening around the ground. I didn't went to no other meetings because I feel like this was just a shit show. You understand? That's how I feel about the Pace thing, and that's how, just giving me the input on the lady that just started.
All right, my lad. Give thanks for that, eh?
Mr. Bagnall.
Yeah, that's it. Yo, from us. That's up.
Easy.
Again, I was a part of Pace. I was in the room. And I saw where the conversation was going. And just like Bagnall, I had some reservations as to, so you come here to ask us what the problem be, and you're going to send a letter to the government. Who the letter coming from? Who name going in? Just like you say, you're asking me for me advice, but not in it for me. Yes, the policies might come back around and help me, but for that piece of document, in order to draft a policy document, you know what them man the charge?
Okay.
$40,000 US, You uncle talk about it, Douglas Watley.
Yeah. It's so funny, right?
Right.
That I had the same reservations about the Pace as well. I ain't gonna tell you like that is why I decided I can stay out of this one too. Because I just see the storm coming. As I say in the song, I saw the rain with the pain coming again. Yo, seriously, when I see certain people, in all honesty, knowing fully well, I know what I know, it is best that I stay out of certain things. Because a lot of people don't have entertainment interests at heart, like best interests at heart. It is always for them, for the what do you call them, the oligarchs, or wherever they come.
The oligarchs.
It is always for them what they can get. So this is not about, we're really trying to structure entertainment, and well, not just for today, but for the long run for them. It is always about, I wonder what container things I could get to come in. Why? Something is like, I don't know why they just think so. And then we get the shitty end of the stick at all times. When they're laying down in bed, right, with the big wigs.
Well, you see, Infamous, I'm going to tell you something, right? Sometimes skepticism is good, but having proof is even better.
Right.
And I'm the type of individual, I would have skepticisms and fears about certain things, because people might say, "Bye, you don't go do that lady Infamous, because Infamous is a cook."
Right.
But that's the experience with you.
Yeah.
I can't speak to that. So I still gonna come in with you. Because, hey, who knows? You might deal differently with me. And I might learn something along the way. You might finally come to the realization that, hey, by me, I scam EK. And what we went in to do actually come out good.
Right.
So I had my reservations about Pace. I had my skepticisms about Pace, but I went in still. Because me as a man, me just see bigger picture.
Right.
And a lot of entertainers stayed out of it because of skepticism. They didn't see it through. And I was saying to them, see it through. If he flop and he fail, ain't for lack of trying. But you can't stand on the sidelines, watch on, hoping that he would fail to say, by yeah, aha. And that is why a lot of organizations that have been formed with regard to entertainers fail.
Yeah, I was not hoping that
everybody come on board and try to make the thing work. Because here what? You could say, but I mean, I like the president, me like the vice president. Okay, but you can't change that unless you are part of the group. And when elections come, you vote for it. It's just like people saying, but I mean, like what the prime minister do. You vote last election, but not me, no. Not with them there. So how do you have a say about it if you don't need to be a part of the process?
Yeah. That's what I said.
We know as entertainers have to get rid of this skepticism, this cynicism, and be a part of the process in order for it to move forward, because you only could change it from the inside. You can't stay up on the outside and determine what goes on in an organization. Everybody got to come on board.
And that is what he said.
Because PS only had what, 20 something people, if so much? If we had every entertainer, every photographer, every dancer, every artist a part of this group, and we say, look, we're taking a decision. We're not doing anything for any political party, anything for any government, anything for any business community. We ain't doing no script, we ain't doing no dance, we ain't doing nothing. As a group, you don't think that would have been tantamount to Rosa Parks sitting in the back of the bus and say, Jinamo?
Definitely.
But we did not have that. We had some people on the outside because they were skeptics. They had skepticism about the thing. So if everybody had come inside a Pace, and Pace went to the ministry and said, look, we as a group have determined that nothing Niagara we're going to be a part of, nothing to do with entertainment, or you can't get with stage, or you can't get with fence, or you can't get with this, or you can't get with sound system, then none of the sound system them. To do nothing.
So that is basically the only way that we could that's the only way that we could negotiate.
That's the only way you're gonna negotiate with these people. Look what Marlene just said. They have been trying for years. Customs cannot operate in and of itself. Customs operate based on laws. The laws and the policies that are put in place by the politicians. The politicians are the only one who could make those changes. None of them make it up to now. Not PAM for 15 years, not Labour for 18, and not Nowdies for 7. Even though they have a Ministry of Entertainment, none of them saw it fit to amend these laws to include raw materials that pertain to entertainment, because none of them took the time to do the work. We had a Minister of Culture in Sean. We had a Minister of Culture in John L. Power. We had a Minister of Culture in Marcella Liebert. In Pam, I don't know who he was back in the 15 years. I can't say. But none of them made a concerted effort to have these laws change up. It should have been across the board. In other countries, once you show up to the port and you're an entertainer, you ain't even gonna say you're an entertainer. The material item alone that the customs officer see fully well understand that you're using this for entertainment. Whether it's a piece of film to draw something, your paint brush, your feathers for your costumes, your cloth for your seamstress, a speaker, a guitar strings, all those items have been amended and are put in the law so that when a customs officer see the item show up in front of it, they ain't got to ask nothing because it's done in law. And so it goes straight into. How do you think a customs officer know what to charge for food? Because in the goddamn law. So
but
put
you
it
see,
in. Don't tell me I got to register. I'm going to go register. I don't have to register.
So we must do the work and they don't.
So we got to do the work. We got to make all the noise. And these bitches must just sit down and just say what? Man, you're supposed to know what. Watch, infamous. If you're an artist, don't you appraise yourself of everything to do with your industry?
Yeah.
And don't you take that information and try to incorporate it in your own business?
Right.
Good. So if you as a minister of culture, how come you and I are going to find out what culture is all about? How come you ain't going to ask you technocrats, well, what complaints should I get? Let me see if I could carry it in cabinet and get it passed through. And if I carry it in cabinet and I can't get no movement on it, I come back to the people and say, well, look, I'm trying to get this thing done and my colleagues in the cabinet don't agree. And then let people in their constituency ask them a
But it
goddamn
goes back.
question.
It goes back. It goes back to what I was saying. Sometimes people will get portfolios that they know nothing about.
But it is your job to come into a new job, assess the lay of the land, and find out all the things that you need to find out about your goddamn job.
Right.
It's simple maths.
It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.
What the hell you telling me? When I was moving from Sugar City Rock to Freedom FM, the operating system at Sugar City Rock was one operating system. I know that inside out. The operating system, the automated system at Freedom was different. It was called Simeon. I had to take classes in order to understand that new operating system, in order to build the database for it, set the timing, set the clock, set everything,
Right.
put the music in it, schedule news, schedule this, schedule that. I had to know it inside out. I could not work at Freedom unless I knew this. The mixing board that we're using at Freedom is a digital mixing board. I had to go and learn that. I could have just show up at the job and say, well, watch him, I use that there. Wherever they're going, got to work out himself. No, that cannot be the attitude. And this is the attitude of the politicians that we got around here. They're lazy in the backside. They only want to do things that's going to benefit their pocket.
But with only two portfolios, right? I don't understand why the process is so slow. Well, it was so slow to get entertainment off the ground. Because they had a lot of time during the pandemic as well.
But they're not serious.
But you know they could say me and your head no good, so.
But this is but Infamous, this is how I know they ain't serious. Last night I was listening to the town hall meeting, right? And Lindsey Grant went on a rant, said that he hear that they bring in some Bajans. The Prime Minister bring in some Bajans. And they're going to try to see if they could start the process of the building of the Bastia High School.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Through the grapevine.
Follow me now. The Bastia High School was one of the biggest talking points of getting Team Unity elected.
Right.
7 years pass. Not even a blade of grass they dig up to start that. You understand? Right. It shows you where their interest lied. People were talking back and forth about where to put it. People suggest all kind of things. People put down the suggestions. And the politicians, they ignore every goddamn thing and lay it lapse there for 7 years. Now that the Prime Minister in charge of everything, he going to do it. You know what?
That's what I said.
He going to do it now because he wants to make them guys, they look bad. Politicians don't do nothing unless something in it for them.
Crisis time, I tell you. And that is why I thought that entertainment thing that what?
It wasn't serious.
So all the while we're here waiting for something, and because crisis time, you're going to rush this thing?
To
and the funny thing about it is, right, and I'm going to say it here. The same Ivan Belly, right? I was asked about him maybe last year. Last year, I think it was enough. But, you know, as I said, I'm a family friend, right? I was asked about him because I worked with him in 2010. I went to Canada in 2010 and I worked with him. You know, he's big around them past in the music industry. He knows a lot. He has a lot of knowledge, right? I was asked about him. I gave advice for free. Right? So, and when I saw the poster come out, I was like, oh, okay. And that's all I could have said, okay. I couldn't say that there, ZK. So, but EK, as I say, right, I still think that we need to move together as a collective body on the outside and on the outside of the ministry and take it to them.
Watch. Infamous. If there was ever such a thing as a genie, where you could have grant a wish. I would have wished to be prime minister of this country for 2 months. Just 2 months. With my mentality, and once I got a cabinet that I'm in charge of and who with me, I want to pick a group of people. I want to be the prime minister for 2 months with a group of people that I could choose. And when I'm done, in that 2 months there, everything that we've been arguing for 38 years, our independence, 35, 38 years of independence, would get done in that 2 months.
Yeah.
It's lack of will. How come they could have draft a piece of legislation or they could have put a piece of legislation in place for FATCA? I ain't ask nobody who no damn FATCA. I ain't ask nobody to give me a about the 10 inches from me windscreen. Me not ask nobody who that there. So what do you ask to get it from?
They went and did the research.
They went and did it. There was no big outcry to have no law put in place to charge me no $3,000 for the damn tint.
Right.
We had no big consensus. We had no big big talk. But you see,
and
it was to gain revenue. So they
and the funny thing is, right? We have entertainment lawyers here, you know.
I mean, if you got entertainment lawyers, yeah. Man, even some of the very criminal laws need reforming. That's why some of the criminals them they get off so easy, because the liars them to the loophole. And you would think that these bastards would go and amend these laws to catch up with the times. But
Yeah.
no, that not interest them because what? Some of the big lawyer friend them don't make money off of them case, yeah.
Well, if fastest I've ever seen the age workers to revoke passports.
Oh. And nobody asks them who them thing there.
Nobody asks for that.
Years now, entertainers are asked for these things. Years.
And they knew that, you know, that is why the ministry came about, you know, because they realized they could have used us. They realized they could have used us. They knew that we were going to.
All of them, they're just damn worthless.
And they realized that they realized the kind of influence that we have, right? So they use us and they use we influence indirectly so that people could think that they're really going to help us. Help what? Why just
oh, you need to formalize it, and you need to this, and you need to that. If a parliamentarian in our government want to do something, they do it. They get up and they do it. We had any great consensus in St. Kitts and Nevis to fire 6 ministers? Timothy get up and you do it by damn self.
Okay.
Nobody asked him to do it. Nobody asked him to go to the Governor General and ask for this. He do it damn self because he didn't want to do it. So if you could hear the cries of a certain group of people, you experience it. Because remember, this entertainment ministry came about because they had the virtual thing. And so the ministers, the prime minister, was close to how the setup actually was. He saw the mixer board, he saw the lights, he saw the sound system because he was right there. Normally, they just come backstage and walk up on the stage. In the virtual thing, they were close. They were right next to how all this shit actually works. And
they realized so much the people love it.
And he realized it. So he started to ask questions. Well, how this do? How that do? Who own that? Who own that? All these things we own after we own without any assistance from anybody. We spend with money and we buy it.
And it was very easy to sell a Ministry of Entertainment to us because he know and she knows that we were we just looking for a piece of hope. That's something
and that's all they fed us, a piece of hope. So you put a whole ministry together without a goddamn plan. You think I know Marlene them work on this whole thing about policy to get certain information and concession? Look, man, said she had to jump to hoops to get it.
Honestly, if she did not call, right, I wouldn't know.
I mean, a long time these things available, but you got some bad mind people that work in government, yeah. He got some bad mind people working there. He got grants available for all these things. But you only know. You only know. You know. Hear it to the grapevine.
You know, one thing. One of my family friend told me, right? You just don't know what you just don't know.
That is true.
Yeah.
But all in all, I hope that we could get somebody who is passionate about this thing and who would go to work and getting it done. All it needs is a amendment to the legislation. Go
Well,
in
that,
the parliament and amend it, include it in the tax laws, change up the wording. You hear us say when you go register, you open a dance school and they give you a business license for entertainment. Because what? The law doesn't recognize the category because it's not in there. But goddamn well put it in this a 2020 and you still got them old time laws there. No amendment. These are the work that we politicians supposed to be doing to make the ease of business. We probably rank on the ease of doing business. Way down. Because we got these old time archaic systems in place and these backsides don't want to put the things in place to make it easier. They don't want to upgrade the vibes. They got these lots of old people that in now work standing in the way of progress. Yes, they got experience, but by God damn it, man. We in a 2022. What's stopping us? Political will. You hear? Infamous, we're going to wrap up this thing now. Give me your final words, my lord.
yes, Mr. Ike. Well, it was a pleasure being here. And I really do hope that I will be invited back sometime soon. And we will be talking about the way forward.
But that's the way forward, you know. I just knew it in a nutshell.
So I hope that our next conversation would be, while we take it to them, we went to them and then study out.
True that. Well, we're going to see. Infamous, thanks again, my lord, for accepting the invitation and spending this morning with us. And I wish you all the best in your upcoming endeavors. And I hope that we could work together soon and, you know, get entertainment off the ground, back to work, and money in the people pocket. Rastafari right now.
All right, sir.
Give thanks, King. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so very much for joining us this morning on Let's Get Real. We talk some entertainment. But the point I want to finish make is that at some point in time, we got to get serious with these people around here and say to them in no uncertain term. Because you heard from Mali, the ministry been trying, people in the ministry been trying. So the ministry is supposed to talk to inter-ministries conversation. I mean, you're supposed to be talking to one another to see how best you could progress the country. Make it easy for the economy to expand instead of just taxing people to damn well debt. When we gonna get some serious reform around here? Is everything we pay tax on? They tell us, oh, we don't remove the VAT from this, we're gonna remove the VAT from that. But the cost of living still a strangler. You could barely feel it. Barely. While some people making millions. And how they make the millions? Because they got concessions. The government making it easy for them to make millions. So why we can't have millionaires entertainers around here? What we gonna do with the money? Not spend it back in we economy and invest it back into the economy? But some people, like, they don't want to see certain people progress in this country. They don't love poor people. They love to keep people poor. That's what they love. And it is clear to see. How much more we got to say? How much louder we have to scream it before these people really pay attention? We got an upcoming election, and instead people put to these people or get from these people what they intend to do about the issues that we face, that we've been facing for so long, how they intend to amend them. All man asks for a stove and fridge. So you got a brother who in a band, and you have the opportunity to vote for somebody who could make life easier for him and ultimately make life easier for you. And you only want a damn stove and a fridge. You only want $500. You don't want to hear nothing else on the politician. Just give me some money now. Knowing fully well that you got a brother who in a band. You got somebody who do art. You got somebody who do dance. Sometimes somebody that frustrate the hell out of me with how shallow are your thinking be. And it's like the more people talk, it's like the less are you listen. And some of these political parties bring some people for us to vote for, who ain't no the elbow from their ass, who ain't got an original thought. Just cut and paste scripts where they get to say. You hear what Milo say, Val Henry tell him. Milo say, Val Henry come and tell he, when you go to people, don't tell them you're the candidate yet because we want to hold it back for a big announcement. As a government work, a play on words, that to me is dishonesty. And I'm glad Milo tell him what he tell him. Is all or nothing. Is either me the candidate or me the candidate. Me not go to nobody tell him about I'm the impromptu candidate. I'm the possible candidate. Using some highfalutin words. That's whether the fool are we with. He says so, not me. He say so, not me. These are the people who are advising these governments. He want to advise Milo to be dishonest. But I'm so glad Milo said what he said. Because that just proves to people who are paying attention that some of these quote-unquote educated people, they use words to shape reality rather than express it. When you go to the people, don't tell them that you're the candidate. Tell them that you are the potential candidate, the prospective candidate. Well, tell him, man, not me. Not me. Me not practice no dishonesty so early in my political career. Is either I am or I'm not. If you want to make an official announcement, we'll do it for that. This is how these people operate. They play with me emotions. They use words to play on with emotions instead of just giving it to us straight. Mark Brantley again say he asked Timothy in a cabinet meeting, well, you said the program is doing well. That's great. How much money in there? Well, the program is doing well. But what is well? This is the kind of deception that these people have practiced. By a sorry, me not got the clip. Moyle said he tell him, no, not me. It's all or nothing. Is either me is the candidate or me and the candidate. Or you don't say me is the candidate or you don't choose me. But I must go to people and continue to canvass and tell them that me the prospective candidate, even though I am the candidate. That is dishonesty. And I hope Milo ain't got them kind of people around him no more. Because them are the kind of people where they steer candidates to tell lie and be dishonest with the people's business. And I hope Milo continue to practice that kind of behavior. And don't let these educated people, these well-spoken people, encourage you to tell your constituents no damn lie. Thank you, Milo Box. And I'm hoping that all the new candidates them take example from Milo. Milo, you off to a damn good start. Somebody said to start a whole different conversation. Boy, I don't just go on these rants, you know. I think I better hush and save that rant there for another time because we're talking entertainment. But it all ties into the same thing. That politicians are the ones who are responsible for making the policies. The technocrats could only advise them, and God knows some of our hard-working civil servants and technocrats have been advising our politicians of the things that they need to do to make life easier for people in this country. But just like Milo said, he got people like Val Henry in the ears of these politicians, encouraging them to use words to shape reality rather than express it. And this is where dishonesty comes into play. That's the point I'm trying to make with this conversation, my lad. That things could be done proper and timely and in order. But you got some people, they're too damn smart and they're too damn bright. When you could just come and say, me the candidate. When you could just come and say, this is what happening in the government. This is what happening in the ministry. That person that stopped me. That person say must do and tell you. We need honest people in politics. Too much a damn lion, cook and thief in there. Too much educated cooks, thieves, and lawyers around with politics. And we need to get rid of all of them. I'm glad Milo call him out. And because Milo call him out, I'm going to be on the rampage now. Because I don't know when want somebody say so. By Milo, you don't know what you do to me. By a well want to ask some politics. You know, somebody said they want another 40 minutes. Well, I'm going to go up and I want to another 40 minutes. I'm glad Milo says so. To show all you the kind of people that will be around with politics. Sometimes in the politician them, you know. But the politician them need to have a mind of their own. You have to come on board with some sense of what they ask you want to do. When you step into them halls of cabinet and parliament, you must know what you want to do for the people. And if you don't know, no go in there. So you're going to show up to a damn job and you know what the job entails. You're going to show up to a job and you know what the ass you're going to do. Then don't show up. Well, I wonder how much money they pay Val Henry to give Milo them kind of advice there. These are the people who don't make the big money to advise our politicians not to tell the truth to their constituents and to the general public. By Baggy, when you watch, right? When Milo dropped the law in there, just like you were saying.
I said, yes.
Boy, you give me chills. What? It give me chills. Because it just proves what I have been saying for the longest while. Who the hell do advise our politicians them when they come to speak to us? These educated puppy shows. Be straight in your speech. Tell people what the 411 is. Tell people what the reality is. And not try to use words to shape reality. And to be smart. He's a damn crook. If that's what you want to do to people. It's all or nothing. I was already selected as the candidate. So just because we ain't had an official announcement, I must go to people and tell people that I am the potential candidate. Don't tell them that you're the candidate. Tell them that you're some highfalutin word. I don't, if the average person in constituency number 3 know what a word they mean. I ever heard it before. But this is the kind of dishonesty that we practice in politics. And I'm glad Milo tell him by not me. You know not. I cannot start out my candidacy on dishonesty. And that's the word we use. Sue me now. See the word there? Presumptive candidate. Why would he ask that they mean? Presumptive. You know, you should tell the constituents that you're the presumptive candidate. Don't tell them that you're the candidate. We haven't made that announcement as yet. Tell them you're the presumptive candidate. Do you know what I mean? Thank you, Milo. What start by the morning can come good at night. And I hope that you, Milo, hold fast to that principle. And don't be like the rest of them. Don't let nobody come in with the highfalutin, lot of colorful and fluffy words and encourage you to be dishonest. Because that's what got Pam and CCM in the quandary where they're in today. Because they use words to shape reality as opposed to express it. They know for morning that Timothy in there bust their ass. They know for morning that Timothy in there do all kind of foolishness. But just to maintain the position, just to maintain their jobs, just to maintain their power, they came out and they told people, Team Unity is the best thing that ever happened to us. The relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis, this is the best it has ever been in the history. Knowing fully well nothing down goes on. Knowing fully well nothing tall go so. My good friend Sean and people tell me left Sean, but I am not the type of person to use words to shape reality. I use words to express it. If the pen blue, it is blue. If the pen is blue, it is blue. You know fully well that Timothy na go down a wrong road. But because you wanted to keep your promise, the promises that you make to the people wasn't important enough for you to tell Timothy for years. You not get another term inside ya because you not do what you say, we come do for the people, which is to give them decent and honest politicians, good governance, integrity in public life. No, you wanted to keep your promise to him before you keep your promise to the people. And so now you come back around to tell us that everything you've been telling us for the past 7 years was a goddamn lie. And we must hug you up and support you and love you and send you back in it. Do again. To do again. And then I got the gall to talk about come back home to Pam. We know that we have been neglecting you for the past 7 years. It's not our fault, it's Timothy's fault. It's not our fault. We wanted to keep the promise to him as opposed to keeping the promise to you. But we now want to keep the promise to you. So come back home and don't allow Labour to sneak through the back door. Labour now sneak through the back door. Labour out here trying to run a campaign with a full slate of candidates that they don't announce long time. Trying to run a campaign to tell people what is they going in, they go fix. Here again, you're using words to be dishonest, to sneak in the back door. Anybody sneak in the back door? This is the kind of foolishness that we politicians don't give us. And we sit down there, we take it, we swallow it up, and we say, yeah! We were supposed to be going through an election now. We had one just 2 years ago when they could have rectified the problem, which was Timothy. And then they rectify it. And now we got to go through another election in the space of 2 short years just because they wanted to keep a promise to a man that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt No one to keep none the promise where he make to people saying it's a Nevis. And now he, up and down a talk about, he do the best with people. They shine them say you not do it. They say you lie. All this simply because our politicians cannot be caught telling the truth. We're not talking politics yesterday. We were supposed to talk politics yesterday, you know. But see, we talk entertainment back to back today, and I'll know me just say what I want. And I'm supposed to go pick up my mother, you know, Lord, how much she gonna wax. But this is important too. Me not understand. We politicians, them lying us. You don't know when they're telling the truth. You have absolutely no idea when these men telling the truth. And I tell you, wait, when the time is right. So until the time is right, lie to these bastards in the country. And then when the time is right, you come out and you tell them the truth. You confuse people. And then people want to make the comparison between them and Bradshaw. The reason why a lot of people don't like Bradshaw because this man was brutally honest to a fault when it comes to his politics. I don't know how he was in his personal life because I never did with him. I don't know. So who wanted to talk that side could talk that side. The man was brutally honest when it came to his politics. And that is what these politicians nowadays lack. Brutal honesty. They cannot be caught telling the truth. So they prefer to lie to you. To your face. On national radio, national TV. And then when you call them out now, people got a problem with you. When you call them out now, people got a problem with you. Going into the last election, the people in Pam knew fully well what was going on with Jonell and Grant case. And they told you no, and so them are in a cast. How you stand with how we think. And I sure the politicians must lie down in the bed and say, I sure.
I said, yes.
The man must lie down in the bed and say, by what? I said, good how we got them the buy? Gone again. I don't understand it. And then people want to convince me to come church. Me not going to damn church. I won't be hugging up and loving up with nobody who stand by and ain't call out these people for what they're doing to us. If them man they go in there and do an honest day's job for honest day's pay, there would be no need for talk shows. There would be no need for activists. There would be no need for any rancor. If man would just do an honest day's work and be honest with the people, they couldn't even be honest amongst themselves. For 7 years in Parliament, they wish a budget safe passage to the House, and he had things in there that I know about. And me supposed to believe these man, yeah? How? You know coming to tell me about the peace. When Douglas get up and he say 41 million, how does this work? How is this being spent? All of them jump up and they nearly kill Douglas in Parliament. They get up and defend it. And I'm sure Timothy must be there sitting and say,
I said, yes.
by them by really with me, you know. because they don't know what me do inside the peace program. But look how they are defend it. Mark, Sean, Grant, Allen. And no, Lindsey Grant Tetelawi, he don't know. Me don't know about that. Can't tell them about the peace. Not about the peace. Not about the peace. You know what I want in there. When we asked on the radio, how is the peace program set up? What's going on in the peace? Oh, are you come the kind of love the peace, man? Them. Are you come the kind of want to see peace in the country? Oh, are you this? Oh, are you that? And in the peace, man, never message you in your phone, boy. I stop talking about the peace, boy. But that's why we ask the damn question, because I mean nothing. And now today, Lindsey Grant Tetelawi, he don't know what going on in the peace. He know we set up. And he a part of government. Timothy keep everything from them. But yet still, they told us for 7 years, Timothy is the best leader. Timothy is the most honorable leader. He has done the most for St. Kitts and Nevis in the history of this country. He's the best. I never hear Timothy say anyone of them are the best or nothing. Never. Somebody say, why blame the church? Blame the people in the church. Well, family, are you allowed to use these lot of play on words? Well, what do you ask the church be? The church of what? The building? Or the church of the people? You see, I like to use words to shape reality again, you know. Preacher in the church do wrong. What should the people do if the politicians do wrong? What should the people do? Well, see, I want to just tell you, you know how to do right, you know. You know how to do right. Every one of us bad. And every one of us lie. Every last one are we. But my God, you're going to stand up in front of 50,000 people and tell a lie? Man, if you lie to one person, you lie to two person. Lying bad, eh? Man, but if you lie to one person, you lie to two person. Nah, right. But you lie to 50,000 people. You lie to an entire Caribbean. You lie to an entire world. Let me get real, Rasta. Why blame the church? Blame the people in the church. Well, family, who the church be? The church ain't the building, you know. The church is the people. Where 1 and 2 are gathered in my name. Simone La, we got Bible study, you hear? Simone La, we got Bible study. That's why me no want nobody invite me come go to church. Not me. Not me. I don't pray every day. We don't talk to God every day. They could not come in my church. Not with them kind of behavior they buy. But they say the church is the place for the sinners. So let it go long. I'm going to wrap up now because I got to go with my mother. I am going to flag this thing like a dead horse. Ike, the people is who to blame because we the people stand for it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why nobody invite me church. You know they could invite me church is if nobody in there and me want to go in the building and me want to worship by myself. Otherwise than that, me not gonna way. Not to sit down between them people there. Take a stand. Say, come let have a talk, family. See more than 1 million you got Bible study your show. Just me and you. Me not come in your church. Just me and you. Either I come by you or you come by me. And we find some place nice and we have Bible study. Let's go. But I am going to use what Milo said as my yardstick to bang up on all of them again. And me not let it go. They get wet with me not let it go. Every day I'm going to bang it. And I'm going to find the clip, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to play it every damn day. He wanted Milo to go to the people and say, don't say you're the candidate, mind you. You're the presumptive candidate. Don't tell them yet. Don't tell them. Let's wait until we can make the official announcement. This again goes to show how these political parties view us, the electorate, when we ask a question of them. You are bringing forth people for us to vote, to give a job, to go do our business. But I can't ask the political party what go on in the party. I never thought about it that way until I see how some of them behave, you know. Your party business is your party business. But when you got to do with the candidate that you are bringing in front of me to ask for me vote and me support, I got the right to ask you whatever the ass I want to ask you. You hear? Put these political parties on notice, but you see, the supporters them, by the supporters them is what to make this shit don't work, you know. But tell me not about and then the candidates say the damn cooks. Some of them don't even get loyal themselves. I remember the voice note with Harris. When Harris a ball, so how Lindsey go and treat him like a dog. Who was a bigger Pam than Harris? Lindsey go and treat you like a dog. You know, return the call. He ain't put him on the port board. By not you. Harris, I need to understand that these people, they are elitists. See, my mother just messaged me asking me not done yet. I'm wrapping up now, mommy. I remember asking me not done. Yeah. These people are elitists. They don't really want you on them. Look and see who they promote and who they go on them. Where you think you're going? This. Where you think you're going? And so now they're asking her to come back home. All who we couldn't help, that Timothy come to the back door and help. Don't study Timothy, come back home. People go where they get help. If me a suffer, if me a struggle, and somebody help me, when I've been asking you, who's supposed to be representing me, I understand transactional politics, you know. I understand. Yes, you might have helped 5 over there. But what about the 10 when you help over here? That Timothy went and helped. You better understand what go on in the politics. Somebody said they want an extra 40 minutes, I give you half an hour, 11:30, lock it down. But tomorrow be Saturday, I might come back tomorrow again, I'm not sure. But no, I'm going to leave this in the morning. I mean, even tell my girlfriend I'm going anyway, but anyhow, she gonna understand. And yeah, so here we're going on. From next week, I think I'm gonna do a program Sunday evening. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here Sunday evening. It can't be tomorrow. So Sunday evening, I'll be back here. Jennifer Batcher, yeah, she said she will come. Wanted us to try put the thing on the board. Oh Lord. I gotta go now. My mother want me. So, yeah. Sunday, we're going to be back here, but we're going to be here in the night. Sunday night. All right? About 8 o'clock. And we're going to have a good conversation. Hopefully, we could get some more phone calls coming in. But I want to thank you guys again for sticking around here. I know somebody might be at work. I know somebody got other things to do. but I'll log in and made it what it is. Daniel says EK is the same thing Tim doing. The PLP person told us that he's not saying he's the candidate as yet. He's just a special appointed person for constituency 6. I asked him how he could ask for our support, but don't know if he's a candidate. Oh well, I guess we don't deserve to know. It's a big surprise. Not a business. I don't really care. At this point, I just want to jam them. Who don't want to pay attention, not pay attention. Because if we pick these people who don't know what the hell they're doing, we're going to be forever here having these conversations about things. So people, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend until I come your way again on Sunday. And in the upcoming week, we're going to be having more and more guests as I could lock them down and confirm them. Sometime I might do a show in the morning and then have to come back and do a show in the night based on the conversation and based on the availability of the guests. So just know that. So who all got show in the night, where we're gonna just got to compete for the people and see how we go. Right? Good. So again, thank you so much for viewing. Thank you so much for sticking around. Those of you who phoned in, thank you again. We do appreciate you and appreciate your time. We'll see you again on the flip side for another edition of Let's Get Real. Trouble.